Good morning, everyone. It's important what you are thinking about, but it's just as, or maybe more important, how you are thinking about it. So how you think is different from what you think, and critical thinking is a discussion of how we think. Let me give you one quick example. I say we should never trust a headline or a first sentence in a paragraph, or even in the first paragraph of any article. We should never trust the words may, might, or could. Because wherever it says may, as in climate change may be causing the death of the coral reefs, it should actually say climate change may or may not be causing the decline of the coral reefs. Might or might not, could or could not. All three of those words are basically the same. But the point is, they are not a statement of fact. They are a statement of conjecture or prediction, even. They're not even really a prediction, because might means might or might not. And whenever you see the word may introducing a story, remember to think to yourself, may or may not, might or might not, could or could not. That's my first point. Anybody have any reply to that concept of critical thinking?
If it doesn't show both sides of the story, we should think about what the other side might be.
Yes, of course. And that gets deep into critical thinking. And especially if they say, studies suggest, that's an important word to watch out for, suggest. But what does that mean, that it suggests? It doesn't mean that it knows. It doesn't mean that it's a fact. Just something suggests. Another important word is linked. Autism is linked to some kind of food, right? Linked to is a word that they use when they can't say causes, right? If you said autism is caused by bananas, right? Well, that's a statement, that is supposed to be a statement of fact. And if you can't back that up, then you're not telling the truth. But if you say autism is linked to bananas, what does that mean? These are weasel words that are used all the time to give you an impression of something that goes in your head, and unless you question it with your critical thinking, you might believe it has some validity, when in fact it probably doesn't have any. All heard of cause and effect, right? Much of science is about trying to find what causes things to happen. So you look for the cause of why the sea level is rising, or why the plant is growing faster than it did before. Any number of things. Cause-effect is a huge field of discovery. And as a matter of fact, it's one of the main focuses of science, is to find out what's causing things to happen. There's another word, though, besides causation. And causation is the single word it means cause-effect. So it's just causation. There's another word called correlation. Correlation means that it appears as though two things are very closely related. Correlation, however, does not prove causation. This is the key point. Let me give you an example. There is a strong correlation between ice cream consumption and shark attacks. Very strong. When shark attacks are high, ice cream consumption is high. When shark attacks are low, ice cream consumption is low. So they follow each other perfectly through the year. That's not because ice cream consumption causes shark attacks, or because shark attacks causes ice cream consumption. It's because the temperature of the season causes both of them. You go to the beach in the summer when it's warm, you have an ice cream, you go swimming, and some people get attacked by a shark. In the winter, you don't eat ice cream and you don't go swimming, so you don't get attacked by a shark. There's a wonderful website that deals with this whole thing, showing you all kinds of correlations that are obviously not cause-effect relationships. So the way to sum it up is, correlation does not prove causation, but causation requires correlation. So causation is a smaller category than correlation. Many things are correlated because of a third factor that is affecting them both, or because they just are spurious. That's what it's called, spurious correlations, the website. And it's a really fun one to go and look at because, you know, the number of movies played by a certain actor correlates with how many ostriches there are, things like that. And so that's my talk on critical thinking for now, just to give you a few pointers to, oh no, one more thing is the difference between assumptions and conclusions. For example, an assumption would be increase in CO2 always causes an increase in temperature. That's an assumption. The conclusion would be, therefore, the CO2's gone up, therefore the temperature must have gone up. But it's really a neat thing to start critically reading and trying to separate the assumptions from the conclusions in a piece of news or in an opinion piece, because there's a difference. They have this word skeptic that they're using these days to describe someone like me who doesn't just automatically accept that carbon dioxide is destroying the world. I just don't. I don't believe it for a minute. So there's a joke, they say that skeptics are people who are against your conclusions, but heretics, which is an even more extreme word in some ways, they're the ones who disagree with your assumptions. There. I think that's good for critical thinking.
In my school, there's sometimes whole hours that we spend in a day talking about climate change and just learning that it isn't actually what I know it or knew it was is kind of surprising.
The video you just watched is for a new education platform called True Arrow Academy of Critical Thinking, or TACT for short. TACT will be an alternative education resource platform that's non-woke and non-indoctrinating, with each lesson being a potential turning point in a young learner's understanding on a range of important topics. TACT will evolve into many hundreds of animations and filmed lessons written, run and influenced by an exceptional mix of academic heavyweights teaching against the grain, with lessons encouraging open discussion, critical thinking and debate. TACT's duty of care is to arm and shield youth against modern, subversive, mainstream education. Supporters will be the lifeblood of TACT. If you would like to support this project, let's build this together at givesendgo.com/TACT. Thank you so much.